The Honda Rancher just passed 100 hours, so I'm gonna change the oil today. So first off, you want to do this when the engine oil is hot, and maybe you can hear it ticking a bit. Then take off this fill plug, just so it will drain faster. So we got the drain plug right there. And it's a bit hard to get to. Okay. Oh, man. It looks kind of good. Oil filter housing is here. This is where you check the level. So you need to take off these bolts, and the oil filter is in there. Ha ha ha, it's hot. It's really hot. Oh, there we go. So that will prevent the wooden floor from rusting in a way. Filter is hot. That looks good. Looks really good. It's like no, cannot see any particles or anything like that. So, but I mean, 100 hours, nothing. Isn't this great? Outside, towards filter cover. This side and spring towards engine. It's like idiot proof. One thing is a bit strange, and there was no gasket here, and the manual says there should be a gasket, so I have to buy one, but it didn't leak before. Oop. So I'm hoping it won't leak that much now, and I'll have to get a gasket for it. Yeah, I did check the old oil. The gasket didn't fall down here, so 2 liters of oil. This big funnel is the best thing that came with the Kelfree ATV digger that I used to have. This oil is for motorcycle with wet clutch. I'm gonna follow the manual, and it says here hours 100. Replace. Oh no, R is should be replaced. No, what the hell is R? R. Let's see. R is okay. So R is not replace. It's clean. And clean in Swedish is rengör. So it's clean. B is change, byt, and S is lube. J is adjust. Okay, so we're gonna clean the air filter. We're gonna check these this drain hose. We're gonna check the spark plug. We're gonna check the valve clearance. What else do we do? Yeah, change engine oil filter. Yeah, we're gonna check the idle, the revs on idle. Check the rubber boots. Oil, I just changed the oil in the diffs. Check brake fluid. I'm actually gonna change it. Check brakes. Okay, page 1 and 5. Check the reverse. Yeah, okay. Checking the, what's that? Underbody protection. Sorry, it's hard to read in Swedish and translate to English. Check the clutch, suspension, clean. This is the muffler, or there's this spark arrestor in the muffler. Clean that. Okay, I don't have to check any screws. Check wheels, tires. That's it. So it's just a lot of checks, some cleaning, mostly change oil, engine oil. Okay, so we have done this. We're gonna clean the air filter now, and let's check the spark plug and valve clearance. That's fun. I found an excellent video on that from partzilla.com, and it's remove fuel tank, remove this, so we can get to the top of the engine. So I'm going to do that now. When you remove parts, it's always good to take a photograph or make a video of how it's connected. You see, this one clamps down here, but it did not include this one. This is the brake wire, and it did not include these ones. But then when we come back here, this second one, second holds them all, and then in here is a third one right there. There you see it. This one also holds them all, and there is two little clip thing to remove here. Now we can take this off. To get this off, you have to lift, because of these small plastic things. So you have to lift it up and pull it out. And it's a bit tight here with these wires here. Is this the, yeah, it's the choke wire and throttle. So these ones were the problem. Now we can start working. Take off the valve cover. What I usually do is I loosen it and just give it a couple of turns, and then use compressed air or something to blow out if there's any debris down here. You don't want that in your engine. There's some soot, but the electrodes, they look good. Once you have the fuel tank off and the valve cover off, it's real simple to check and adjust the valve clearance, and that's good. I used to have a Suzuki King Quad. It was really hard to see and get to it, so you didn't really know if you were doing it correct, and this is really important to have it right. In order to know if you're at top dead center, you take off this little inspection screw here, and when there's a T in there, it means that you're right. It could also be BDC, bottom on the bottom. Yeah, I don't know. You know, either the piston could be in top or the bottom. Job on. Yeah. There we have it. Okay. T. And now, if these are loose. Yeah, they are. Now we're right. If they're not loose, then you need to pull the engine one more revolution, one more turn. This one is 0.15. You see, I can get this one in 0.15 millimeters. I think that's like 0.6 or something like that. 0.006, something like that. I'll write the exact numbers in this description. So this one goes in, but if I take the next step, which is 0.2, these are really bad. I should buy new ones. Maybe you can see that. Yeah, 0.2. No, I can almost get it in, but it's not going in there. So it's a little bit big, but it's better than too little. So I would say that's okay. So I got everything back together, and I've cleaned the air filter housing. I cleaned that little tube down there, and it's used to, you can see through it. So if there gets any water down there, it's time to open up and clean it. But now I need to clean the air filter. And it says use kerosene to clean it, and it says use transmission oil. But I think I'm not gonna use transmission oil. I have a special air filter oil, so I'm gonna use that. I didn't have any special solvent for this, so I'm using water and don't tell my wife about this. So I let it dry over the night. Just use some regular washing up liquid and hot water. And the water got real dirty. There is some special thing to use, like some detergent and stuff, but I think that will be good. Now I have this plastic bag. I'm gonna fill it with this special air filter oil. I'm not gonna fill it, but put a lot in there, put the filter in, squeeze it so the oil goes in there, take it out, let it dry for a couple hours before I install it. I just massaged this oil into the filter, and last thing I did, I squeezed the filter, did not twist it. So we don't want too much oil in there, but we want enough oil to make sure that it can catch the dust particles inside the filter. Without this oil, the filter is kind of useless. It's a very sticky oil. got the air filter back. I'm gonna adjust the throttle control. This one here should be 3 to 8 millimeters. So it's 0.1 to 0.3 inches. I think it's a little bit much, so I'm just gonna spin this. Yeah, I think that's better. Then just lock it. And this rubber boot back here. That's good. Now it's time to check the brakes, and first of all make sure that the handle, you can feel when it starts to brake, and shouldn't be too much free play between fully out and when it starts to apply. If it does, you have to adjust it. And you should also check the condition of the brake shoes in here. There's this small plug you can pull out, which you should also do if you have been in water. Make sure there's no water in there. And so there you can see the brake shoe. You see this like a U-shaped thing. This to be able to measure. I can't get focus in there, sorry. But there's one of these for each shoe. So one here, and let's go down here. See if we can find the other one. And one there, can you see it? Yeah. It's much easier to see. It's just a flashlight or something. Oh yeah, minimum is 1 millimeter. New is 4 millimeters, and they don't look worn at all. It's just gone 100 hours. I'm gonna change the brake fluid that you do in the rear side of the front wheels. And while you're here, you can check all these gaskets and the boots. Make sure there's nothing wrong with them, because if they're faulty, the grease will go out and the dirt will go in, and the CV joint will fail really fast. Oops. And the CV joint will fail real fast. Really get this clean here. To change the brake fluid, just take a small tube, connect it here and open this one, lead it down to a container, and make sure that you keep the reservoir up at the handle, the brake handle, filled at all time. You don't want air to go into this system. And when you see that the brake fluid is clear, that's coming out, then you know you've changed this circuit. And you do the same thing on both sides. It's kind of easy on this one. It's only got 2 hydraulic brakes. And the reason you want to change brake fluid is because the brake fluid, it attracts moisture. So the longer it's in there, the more moisture is in there. And one of the problem is that it can boil if it gets really hot and there's a lot of moisture in it. And then you will not have any brake on the front, no front brakes. I don't think that will be a big problem on an ATV, but with the moist inside the brake fluid, it will also rust. And I've seen, especially on cars that haven't been maintained, that the brake calipers or any other part of the hydraulic system, the brake system, it will rust from the inside, and then it will seize and you'll have to buy new stuff. And I mean, brake fluid is really cheap, so just change it every other year or something like that. It says in the maintenance schedule, in this one it says every other year, and I think that's good. Fortunately, I think I got some air into the system, but we're gonna have to be 2 people. I think my kid will help me. He will pump like this, hold it, and then I will open the nipple down there and then close it again, and then pump, hold, and close. Pump, hold, close, just like in a car. And that will get the air out. And I also spilled a little bit here, and it's important to remove brake fluid as soon as possible. Just use water. I'm gonna go and hose this off now because it's very aggressive against the paint and stuff like that. Okej, pumpa och håll. Åkte den in? Bra, pumpa. Håll. Pumpa. Ja, är det mer för den? Ja, pumpa. Håll. Pumpa. Håll. Pumpa. Och håll. Okej, vi tar andra sidan nu. Now it's much better. Before you could get this brake handle to touch the handlebar, and that's not good. Don't mix used brake fluid with used oil. They should be separated, especially if you work in a workshop where you have like a pump that sucks out the used oil from these big containers, because the brake fluid will ruin the pumps. It will be like some kind of slime in there, and yeah, I have seen that. Okay, what's next? We're gonna check the reverse system. Originally on these bikes, what you do is you press down this lever here and then pull, and then that pulls a wire that enables you to put it in reverse. But that's it's kind of a clumsy thing, kind of awkward. And what I've done, got a tip from a homepage, just put a nut in here. I can remove it really easy. I know it's in there. If I were to leave this bike to someone who doesn't know, I could just, you know, get it out. But now, just what I want to do. Okay, now it's in neutral. I can just put it in reverse, neutral. Ah, come on. Okay, let's start it instead. First gear, neutral, reverse. Just by pressing these. So you don't have to fiddle with this or the brake or anything like that. If you have a manual bike, maybe you shouldn't do this. But in these ones, if the revs are too high, it will not go into reverse. So you're kind of safe, but you should be standing still when getting in reverse. So I think last thing to do that is really something worthwhile mentioning. I mean, there's a lot of checks, but I don't think it's not like it's hard to check if there's leaking oil somewhere or something like that. But you should remove this. Oh, yeah, there was some soot in there. Start it up. Now we should rev it. manual says you should block it off like that. Just have this hole open and then rev it, but it won't rev, you know, because the exhaust is kind of blocked. I don't know. Or okay. So it's good to put the fuel shut-off valve on. Maybe now it works better. Okay, I've done all things in this list. I haven't mentioned this idle revs, but basically what it says is that your idle mixture should be adjusted. And what you do is you heat it up, and then you adjust idle to 1400 revs per minute, and you screw the air screw. There is one adjustment screw here until you can hear the revs going down, and then you take it out, you screw it out until it starts to go down in revs again, and then you put this screw number 2 exactly between these two extreme adjustments. And usually that is 1 3 1/4 turn out from fully in. But that's just in a basic setting. You should follow this routine. You set it between when it starts to go down and when it starts to go down again. This is a real strange thing about machines and also this ATV. The guy I bought it from, he says it's been serviced, and I do believe him. He was a real serious guy, and the bike was in the kind of condition that you could see that, especially like the air filter had been cleaned and oiled. But the company that has done this service, they haven't noted anything here in this ledger or this service book. That's kind of strange, and it's been the same thing with mini excavators when I tried to buy that, and no one had any kind of record about service. I'm gonna write down anyway that I've done 100 hours service. This record is more for myself now. I don't think it will affect the value of the bike. But now I know I did 100-hour service, and I changed the brake fluid this date in August, and then I can follow up with more services down here. Okay, that concludes my 100-hour service of this Honda 4Trax or Honda Rancher. There is wheels and tires, they should be checked, but I have ordered new wheels and tires, and I will check those when they come out, and you will check them out too, I hope. I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.